The night sky was darker than usual, broken only by the faint glimmer of distant stars. On Earth's orbital monitoring station, Lieutenant Mara Vance leaned closer to the holographic display. Her eyes widened as a massive object slowly moved into the tracking grid, a cargo ship, unregistered and drifting from the edge of the solar system. Its hull was scarred and dented, as if it had survived countless battles. "This isn't ours," Mara muttered. The voice of the station's AI, calm and mechanical, interrupted. "Object classified as unknown. Approach caution advised." The crew gathered in silence, watching the glowing red blips on the screen. The ship appeared to be dumping something into orbit. Large containers that fell toward the planet like silent meteors. No distress signals, no warnings. Just cargo, abandoned near Earth. Captain Thorne, a veteran of interstellar logistics security, stepped forward. His face was tight, his jaw set. "Get the retrieval drones ready. I want to know what's in those containers before the orbital debris field swallows them." Mara's stomach twisted. There was something unnerving about the way the cargo drifted. It wasn't just the size, it was the silence, the way the ship seemed to almost float around the laws of physics, untouched by gravity or atmosphere. The first drone launched, a small mechanical scout with lights that cut through the darkness. It approached the nearest container. On the monitors, the crew gasped. The container's surface was transparent in sections, revealing rows upon rows of cryogenic chambers. And inside, shadows of small figures. "What the hell?" Mara whispered. "Children," someone breathed from the crew, though the words sounded impossible even as it left their lips. Captain Thorne didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the screens, analyzing the arrangement. "Prepare the retrieval bay. Bring them here. But keep protocol strict. We don't know what we're dealing with." The cargo containers were enormous, metallic blocks larger than any shipping module designed for Earth. Yet each seemed fragile, like it had been designed to hold life, not machines. The crew's hearts pounded as the first container was secured in the station's docking bay. Mara stepped inside the chamber, her boots echoing on the metal floor. The air was cold, colder than normal space temperature, and smelled faintly metallic. Rows of cryo chambers lined the walls, each one humming softly, life signs flickering faintly above each pod. She crouched next to the first chamber. A child lay inside, maybe 8 or 9 years old, with delicate features frozen in sleep. Something about the peacefulness was unnatural. She reached out hesitantly, touching the smooth surface. The child's eyes fluttered open. Mara jumped back. The eyes weren't human. Not completely. They glowed faintly, like tiny stars trapped in a human form. And yet, the child's small hand reached out, grasping at the air, seeking contact. "Commander, you need to see this," Mara said, voice shaking. Thorne stepped in, eyes scanning the pods. He moved closer to another chamber, his hand brushing over the control panel. One by one, more children stirred, some waking slowly, others jerking awake in panic. They looked around, confused, frightened, but something in their gaze was strange. Intelligence beyond their years. Awareness that shouldn't belong to children. The station's AI beeped urgently. "Warning! Unknown signal detected. Origin, cargo vessel. Signal strength increasing." Mara turned back to the viewport. The cargo ship, still floating outside, was changing course. It wasn't leaving. It was circling, almost watching. And then, faint lights appeared around it. Ships, smaller than the cargo vessel but clearly armed. The realization hit Mara like a cold wave. "They're coming back," she whispered. "Whoever left them, they don't want anyone to take these children." A sudden shudder ran through the station. The lights flickered. The children in the chambers began to emit faint pulses, almost like tiny heartbeats synchronized with the vibrations. Some of them opened their eyes, glowing brighter now, staring at the approaching ships. Thorne clenched his fists. "Secure all exits. Prepare defenses. This is not just a rescue mission anymore, it's survival." Mara stepped back, overwhelmed by the scale of what they had found. 12,000 children, 12,000 lives dumped like cargo. And now, someone or something was coming to take them back. Her eyes met the nearest child, who stared at her calmly, a silent understanding in its glowing gaze. Mara felt a chill. These were not ordinary children. And Earth had no idea what had just arrived. The silence stretched for a heartbeat, then a low hum filled the station. The children's cryo chambers began to glow softly, sending faint waves through the room. Mara knew, without understanding how, that this was only the beginning. The cargo ship loomed outside, circling closer. And somewhere deep in the hearts of those 12,000 children, something ancient, powerful, and waiting had just awakened. Mara swallowed hard. She had no idea what they were about to face. But she knew one thing. Nothing on Earth was ready for this. The children were awake now. Not all at once, but slowly, carefully. They moved inside their cryo chambers with surprising grace, blinking their glowing eyes as if studying their surroundings. Mara and the rest of the team watched in silence, unable to tear their eyes away. Each child looked human, but something was different, something that made the hair on Mara's arms stand on end. The scientists started scanning them. The results were impossible. "These aren't normal humans," Dr. Lorne said, his voice trembling. "Their DNA's hybrid, part human, part something else. Something we've never seen before." Mara swallowed. "You mean alien?" Lorne nodded slowly. "Yes, and not just any alien. These children, they were designed, engineered." The room went quiet. The crew stared at the children, now sitting up, some reaching their hands toward the humans, some just watching. There were 12,000 of them, 12,000 engineered lives, dumped like unwanted cargo near Earth. Captain Thorne stepped forward. "Why? Who would do this? And why dump them here?" The station's AI beeped urgently. "Unknown transmission detected. Source: cargo ship. Encryption level high. Message appears to be warning." Mara squinted at the holographic screen. She adjusted the filters, trying to decode the message. Strange symbols floated before her eyes, shifting and pulsing like a heartbeat. Then, suddenly, the symbols resolved into something she could almost understand. A single phrase repeated over and over. "Return them. They are dangerous." The word dangerous echoed in Mara's mind. Dangerous? They were just children. Or were they? The first child spoke, not in words, but in a soft, telepathic voice that filled the room. "We were not meant to sleep. We were meant to learn, to protect." Everyone froze. The voice was inside their heads, yet it came from the child standing quietly in the corner. Mara felt her knees weaken. She looked around. The crew was pale, shocked, and terrified. Dr. Lorne whispered, "Telepathy? That's impossible. No human can do this." Another child stepped forward. Their eyes glowed brighter. "They left us to sleep. They wanted to see if you were ready." Mara's heart pounded. "Ready for what?" she asked aloud. But the children didn't answer with words. Instead, one reached out a hand, and a small holographic image appeared in the air. It showed a fleet of alien ships moving through space. At the center, a massive vessel, the same cargo ship that had dumped them. The fleet was coming back. Mara's stomach sank. Whoever abandoned these children didn't do it out of kindness. They had a purpose. And now they were returning. Dr. Lorne shook his head. "We can't just sit here. We need to figure out who they are before that fleet gets here." Captain Thorne nodded. "Agreed." Mara gathered the team. "We'll start analyzing their DNA, their memory, everything. We need answers. And fast." But the children weren't idle. They moved quietly, almost in unison, scanning the station with their glowing eyes. One child touched the console, and suddenly the screens flickered, showing images of planets, stars, and strange alien symbols. "We remember," the child said. "We remember the world we came from and why we were left behind." Mara swallowed hard. 12,000 children, 12,000 hybrid lives. And every single one of them held secrets that could change the fate of Earth. A low hum began in the station, soft but growing. The children paused, looking toward the viewport. Outside, the cargo ship hovered, surrounded now by a dozen smaller escort ships. They moved in a deliberate formation, scanning the station like predators circling prey. Mara turned to Captain Thorne. "They're not just coming for us. They're coming for them." The captain's eyes darkened. "Then we have to be ready. Whatever these children are, whatever they can do, they are now our responsibility." The children watched, calm and silent, as the humans scrambled. Yet there was a strange confidence in their glowing eyes. Mara felt it too, a sense that these children were not victims. They were something far more powerful. And somewhere deep inside, Mara knew the truth. The mystery of these children was only beginning. The fleet was coming. Earth had no idea what was about to arrive. And these 12,000 children were not just children. They were the key. The station's alarms blared, a sharp, insistent sound that cut through the tense silence. Outside, the alien fleet had closed the distance. The smaller escort ships glimmered against the blackness of space, their movements precise and threatening. Mara's hands trembled slightly as she gripped the console. 12,000 children, all in the station, and now enemy ships were ready to strike. Captain Thorne barked orders. "Lock down all exits. Activate defense shields. Everyone to battle stations." The station shook as the first energy pulse hit. The outer hull rattled violently, throwing the crew against the walls. Sparks flew from broken panels. The children didn't scream. They didn't panic. Instead, their glowing eyes seemed to pulse with energy, reacting to the vibrations outside. Mara felt a strange pull in her mind. It was subtle at first, a tiny voice inside her head, gentle but clear. "Do not be afraid. We are with you." She glanced at the nearest child, a girl no older than 10. Her eyes shone bright blue, glowing through the dim emergency lights. The girl raised her hand, and Mara noticed a ripple in the air, like a soft wave. The incoming energy pulse from the enemy ship bent away, barely touching the station. "By the stars," Dr. Lorne whispered, awe and fear mixing in his voice. "They're protecting us." The alien fleet pressed forward. Another pulse hit, stronger this time. The shields flickered under the strain. Mara could see the tension in Captain Thorne's jaw. They had never faced an enemy like this. Their weapons could barely scratch the surface of the approaching ships. One child, a boy with silver hair, floated slightly above the floor, his eyes glowing intensely. "We will not let them take us," he said. The voice was calm, but the energy around him grew, radiating outward in waves that pushed the crew and objects gently back. Mara watched as the fleet faltered for a moment, their approach interrupted. She realized with growing shock that the children were fighting back, though not violently. They were using their powers defensively, bending energy, shielding the station, controlling the flow of the attack. But the fleet didn't retreat. Instead, it adapted, firing coordinated bursts of energy that threatened to overwhelm even the children's abilities. Sparks flew from consoles, alarms shrieked, and the station trembled. Captain Thorne shouted over chaos. "We need to move the children to the inner hold. Keep them safe, whatever it takes." Mara helped guide the children, who now followed almost instinctively, moving in perfect order. Some held hands, forming a glowing chain of energy. Others hovered, scanning the approaching ships, their eyes calculating and precise. A sudden jolt rocked the station. One of the containers fell, breaking open. The child inside blinked awake, frightened. But before the panic could spread, the energy around her flared, protecting her from harm. Mara realized this wasn't just random ability. They were connected, somehow able to sense danger and act as one. "Captain," Mara's voice trembled. "They're not just children, they're a single force." Thorne's eyes narrowed. "Then we fight with them, not against them." Outside, the alien fleet hesitated, scanning the station. Something about the children made them pause. Mara couldn't tell if it was fear, respect, or recognition. But the momentary pause gave the humans and children enough time to strengthen the inner shields and reposition the children safely. The youngest child, barely 6, looked up at Mara, eyes glowing like twin stars. "We are ready," the child said softly. Mara swallowed hard. 12,000 children, 12,000 lives. And now, They had become the first line of defense against an enemy whose power far exceeded anything Earth had faced before. A massive shadow crossed the viewport. The cargo ship itself had arrived, larger than anything the station had tracked. The escort ship circled it protectively, preparing for the final strike. Mara clenched her fists, her mind racing. They were outnumbered, outgunned. But the children were something else entirely. And deep inside, she felt it. The fight for Earth had just begun, and she had no idea what would come next. The station hummed with tension. Outside, the massive cargo ship loomed like a silent predator, its escort fleet scanning every angle. Inside, the 12,000 children huddled in the inner hold, their glowing eyes flickering as if sensing the danger. Mara and the team worked quickly, tried to understand who these children were, and why someone had abandoned them near Earth. Dr. Lorne rushed toward a console, his fingers flying over controls. We need answers. There has to be data inside these pods, something left behind by whoever created them. Mara watched as he accessed the data cores hidden in the containers. Streams of alien symbols flashed across the screen. Slowly, some of the codes translated into images, holographic records of distant planets, strange laboratories, and children in training. "What is this?" Mara whispered. The images showed children moving with perfect precision, their eyes glowing, learning things humans could not. They were taught languages that no one had ever heard, skills in science, combat, and communication far beyond their age. Dr. Lorne's face went pale. They were part of an interstellar experiment. Someone tried to create a new species, a hybrid, part human, part alien. The goal, to make a super intelligent, super capable race. But something went wrong. Mara felt a chill. Wrong? What happened? The children themselves seemed to answer. One boy stepped forward, silver eyes glowing. We were considered dangerous, too strong, too aware. So they left us to sleep, to see if anyone could protect us. A low hum reverberated through the station. It was the children, collectively reacting to something outside. Mara glanced at the viewport. The cargo ship had begun emitting a signal, a pulse that made the entire station vibrate. The holographic images shifted, showing flashes of alien fleets, battles, and abandoned planets. Symbols appeared repeatedly. Contain, observe, return if necessary. Dr. Lorne's voice shook. These children, they were never meant to live freely. They were weapons, tools, and now someone wants them back. Mara turned to the nearest child. Who? Who wants them back? The child's voice was calm, almost ancient. The ones who made us. They left the cargo. They watch. They wait. And they will come for us. Outside, the escort ships began moving closer, their energy beams scanning the station. The cargo ship itself seemed to pulse with life, a giant alien heart beating in the darkness. Captain Thorne clenched his fists. So, they were abandoned but not forgotten. We can't just keep them here. If they come for the children, Earth could be in danger. Another child, a girl with glowing golden eyes, floated slightly above the floor. Earth is not ready. But you are the first who could help. You must learn fast. Mara swallowed. 12,000 children. Abandoned, engineered, dangerous, but also alive, intelligent, and powerful. She realized Earth had never faced anything like this. The truth was horrifying. The station's AI beeped urgently. Warning. Approaching fleet has deployed boarding modules. Estimated arrival, 2 minutes. Mara's heart pounded. The children's glow intensified, their energy pulsing in waves that shook the floor. They were ready. They were waiting. Dr. Lorne whispered, almost himself. They weren't just experiments. They were meant to survive anything. And now we are part of that test. Mara turned to Captain Thorne. So, what do we do? Thorne's eyes scanned the glowing children. We fight. We protect them. And we survive long enough to find out exactly what they are capable of. As the first boarding modules breached the station's outer hull, the children raised their hands. Energy rippled outward, pushing the modules back like they were nothing more than paper. The crew watched in awe and fear. Mara's mind raced. These were children, But they were the future, a future that could either save Earth or destroy it, depending on what came next. The cargo ship hovered closer, pulsing signals into space. Somewhere inside, the creators of this monstrous experiment were watching, waiting, and the children, 12,000 of them, had already begun to respond. The station shook violently as the first alien boarding modules slammed against the hull. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and the crew stumbled through the chaos. Outside, the cargo ship and its escort fleet hovered, relentless and merciless. Captain Thorne barked orders, but Mara's attention was fixed on the children. The children were no longer quiet observers. Their glowing eyes pulsed like stars as energy waves rippled through the station. The smallest of them lifted objects with their minds, hurling them at the incoming modules. Some floated slightly above the floor, moving with speed and precision far beyond human capability. Mara ran alongside a group of children toward the inner hold, her voice shaking. "Keep moving. Stay with me." The youngest children clung to each other, their hands glowing as if connected by a single thread of light. When a module breached the inner door, a wave of energy emanated from the children, pushing the module away and sealing the door behind them. Captain Thorne's voice cut through the chaos. "We need a plan. We can't fight them all here." Dr. Lorne pointed to a cargo transport bay. "If we can get the children into the shuttle pods, we might be able to escape before the main ship boards us." Mara nodded, her heart pounding. "Let's move. Everyone now." The children seemed to understand instinctively. They formed groups, glowing softly as they moved in perfect unison toward the shuttles. Some hovered, others ran with incredible speed, guiding their smaller companions. Mara watched in awe. They were not just children, they were a single living force. Outside, the alien fleet adjusted their formation, firing concentrated energy pulses at the station. The hull groaned under the assault. A massive shockwave threw Mara off balance, and she hit the wall hard. Pain shot through her side, but she forced herself up. She couldn't stop now. A boy with silver eyes approached, placing his hand on her shoulder. "We will protect you. Trust us." Mara felt a strange warmth, a sudden calm in the middle of chaos. The boy raised his hand, and a shield of energy spread through the corridor. Incoming blasts from outside bounced harmlessly off the shimmering barrier. Shuttles were loaded one by one, children guiding themselves in and sitting carefully as if they had done this before. The crew scrambled to follow, but the boarding modules were relentless. Sparks flew and metal bent under pressure, but the children's energy pushed back, giving the humans a chance. Captain Thorne checked the control panel. Shuttles ready for launch. "Mara, get the children aboard the lead pod." Mara ushered a group of children into the pod. Their glowing eyes watched her, calm and wise beyond their years. She felt a mixture of fear and awe. "We'll make it. I promise we'll make it," she whispered. The lead pod doors closed just as the first boarding module crashed into the corridor behind them. Energy from the children's combined power blew the module away, giving the pod enough clearance to launch. Mara gripped the controls, her hands shaking as the pod lifted off. Outside, the alien fleet's energy pulses lit up space like lightning. But the children inside remained calm, their glowing eyes pulsing in rhythm with the shuttle's engines. One of the older children spoke softly, telepathically. "Do not fear. We are stronger than they know." Mara's heart pounded. 12,000 children. 12,000 lives now in motion, fleeing from a force that wanted them back at any cost. And yet, as the pod sped away from the station, she realized something profound. These children were not just survivors. They were the beginning of something new. The cargo ship loomed behind them, massive and threatening. Its escort ship surrounded them like sharks. But the children didn't panic. Together, their energy rippled outward, forming a protective field around the shuttle pods. Mara felt the warmth of that power, the sense of hope and strength emanating from them. Dr. Lorne looked at her, eyes wide. "They're defending themselves. All of them." Mara swallowed hard. "And if they can do this now when fully awake, Earth won't know what hit it." The shuttle surged forward, leaving the station behind. The alien fleet pursued, relentless and calculating. But the children's energy shield was strong, bending and absorbing the attacks. For the first time, Mara felt a glimmer of hope. Hope and fear. The journey ahead would not be easy. The enemy would not give up, and the children were the key. And deep inside Mara, a thought grew, chilling and powerful. Earth had no idea what just arrived, and no one was ready for the power that now traveled among them. The shuttles flew through space, the alien fleet following relentlessly. Inside the lead pod, Mara sat among the glowing children, their calm energy filling the cabin like a quiet storm. Outside, the stars blurred past, but inside, tension grew, human tension. Not everyone in the crew had the same goal. Lieutenant Karen, a senior officer, leaned close to Captain Thorne, whispering sharply, "We can't keep them all. 12,000 children. Think about it. The technology, the power, they're a weapon. We could control it. Earth would obey us." Thorne's eyes narrowed, and he shook his head. "They are children, Karen, not tools. You're insane if you think." But Karen's voice was steady, cold. "Insane? No. Practical. The fleet wants them back because they're valuable. Valuable enough to give us power beyond anything Earth has ever seen. You're blind if you don't see it." Mara heard the conversation and felt her stomach twist. Betrayal from within. Someone among them was thinking of selling or using the children as weapons. Her gaze swept over the glowing children. They were aware. Their eyes flickered, sensing the tension, reading intentions beyond words. Suddenly, Karen moved toward one of the inner controls. "We can override the course. We can take them somewhere Earth won't know, and..." Before she could finish, one child's voice filled the pod, telepathically but strong, calm, and frightening in its precision. "Stop." The crew froze. Karen's hand hovered over the console. The child's eyes glowed brighter, golden light spilling through the cabin. "You cannot harm them. You cannot hide them. You will not survive betrayal." Karen stumbled backward, eyes wide, his face pale. The other crew members watched, stunned. Mara felt a shiver run down her spine. The children were not only aware, they knew intent and morality, and they could act. Another child, hovering above the floor, spoke softly. "Trust is fragile. Those who betray will face the consequences." The pod shuddered as an invisible force pushed Karen against the wall. The crew gasped. Mara grabbed the officer to steady him, but he could barely move. The children's energy pulsed, protective and controlled, but utterly unstoppable. Captain Thorne swallowed hard. "Mara, we can't fight them. Not even us. We have to follow their lead." Mara nodded, fear and awe in her eyes. 12,000 children, innocent yet terrifyingly powerful, were now fully aware of human intentions. And in that awareness, they had already judged. Karen's defiance crumbled as the children's collective power rippled through the cabin. He slumped to the floor, silent and defeated. The crew stared in awe at the glowing eyes, now pulsing softly, calming the tension. But outside, the threat remained. The alien fleet had detected the deviation. They were closing in faster, their energy pulses growing stronger, more coordinated. Mara's heart raced. The children had protected them from betrayal. But the real battle was still ahead. One of the older children looked at Mara, a calm wisdom in their gaze. "They come for us. Earth will not understand. You must decide, will you protect or betray again?" Mara swallowed hard. "We protect. All of us." "Good," the child said. Their energy pulsed stronger, almost like a heartbeat filling the shuttle. "Then we are ready. And together, we are unstoppable." Outside, the alien fleet loomed closer. The shuttles were the last line of defense. But inside, a new alliance had formed. Humans and children, bound together not by duty, but by trust and survival. The betrayal had been revealed. The lesson was clear. Earth had no idea what had arrived, and the children's power was beyond comprehension. And now, as the fleet prepared for a final assault, nothing would stop what was coming next. The alien fleet loomed closer, dark and massive against the backdrop of stars. Their energy pulses streaked through space, lighting up the shuttle pods carrying the 12,000 children. Mara gripped the control panel, her heart hammering in her chest. This was it, the final confrontation. The children's eyes glowed brightly, pulsing in rhythm like a single heartbeat. A low hum filled the lead pod, vibrating to the floor and walls. Mara felt in her chest a strange warmth and power that she could not explain. One child, silver-haired and calm, raised a small hand. "We will protect ourselves, and we will protect you." Outside, the alien ships fired in unison, energy beams striking the shuttle pods with incredible force. Shields flared and sparks flew, but the children's energy expanded outward, forming a glowing barrier that bent the alien attacks harmlessly away. Mara watched in awe. 12,000 children, their collective power immense, moved with precision. They were not just defending, they were changing the battlefield. Energy rippled outward, colliding with the alien ships. Sparks of light exploded in space as some vessels were thrown off course, others disabled instantly. Captain Thorne gritted his teeth. This is impossible. They're not children, they're a force of nature. Dr. Lorne whispered, almost in disbelief. They were designed for this, to survive, to fight, to protect. They're more than human. They're the future. The children's powers grew stronger, synchronized and controlled. Some extended telepathic links to humans, calming fear and giving clarity. Mara felt herself connected to them in a strange, unspoken way. She understood now. These children were not victims. They were guardians, meant to guide, protect, and awaken humanity to something greater. The alien fleet faltered under the children's combined power. Their pulses of energy, coordinated and precise, dismantled the attacking ships one by one. The cargo ship itself pulsed in alarm, sending a massive wave of energy that the children absorbed effortlessly. A golden glow surrounded the lead pod. One child's voice echoed in everyone's minds. "Earth is safe for now, but the galaxy watches. We are ready for what comes next." Mara felt tears in her eyes. 12,000 children, engineered, abandoned, feared. And now they had saved them all. Saved Earth. Captain Thorne looked at Mara, astonished. They didn't just defend themselves. They defended us. All of us. The youngest child smiled faintly, glowing softly. "We only do what is right. Trust us, and we can build a future together." The alien fleet, beaten back and confused, retreated. The cargo ships slowly drifted away, no longer a threat, but a reminder of what could return. The shuttles, carrying humans and children alike, glided safely toward a hidden orbital station prepared for them. Mara exhaled, relief flooding through her. She glanced at the children around her, their glowing eyes now gentle, calm, and wise. They were not just children. They were hope. Dr. Lorne whispered, almost reverently, This changes everything. Humanity has never seen anything like this." Mara nodded, smiling through the exhaustion. "No, but now we have a chance. A chance to learn, to grow, and maybe to become something better." One child looked out the viewport toward the stars. "The galaxy is watching, but Earth will be ready with us." And as the shuttle pods drifted into safety, a new dawn for humanity began. One where 12,000 children, engineered yet free, held the keys to survival, knowledge, and hope for the future. The universe had arrived at Earth's doorstep, and this time, Earth was not alone.